also going to pass it over to Emily so she can introduce herself, and then we're just going to open up the area here so that you guys can ask any questions that you may have. Congratulations, we're excited. If you're choosing to come here, you've chosen a really great place. We're going to do our best to help answer any questions we can this morning. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over on to Emily.
Hi, excuse me. Hi, good morning, everyone. Congratulations on getting admitted to UC Merced and accepting this new journey. I am the graduate coordinator for the School of Natural Sciences. I will be your main person to contact for any questions regarding your TA positions, any graduate student researcher positions, and just going forward, I will be your main contact. So thank you for joining us today. We are here to just answer any general questions, address any concerns that you may have, and hopefully we get some answers, some questions answered for you.
So we'll go ahead and open up the floor. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question and or put it in the chat, and we'll go ahead and start answering questions.
Could we actually get everybody's degree, your major?
Oh, good idea.
And your name and just where you're coming from. That would be helpful. Feel free to put it in the chat as well.
Hello, everyone.
Morning.
I'm Parian. I'm from Iran, and thank you for this session.
Welcome. What is your major?
Chemistry.
Chemistry. Okay, perfect. Perfect.
I also have a question.
Yeah.
I wanted to install the VPN, Merced VPN, but there was an error that because my country is in the list of restricted countries, I couldn't install VPN.
Great question. I'm going to look it up to see if there was any restrictions. Have you reached out to our IT department yet?
I don't have the email of IT department.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll drop it in the chat as well, but let me see if I can find anything for you. Did you already create a UC Merced login by chance?
Yes, I created UC Merced ID and email, and I entered a link special for creating the VPN. But an error says that in order to comply with US trade controls, we are required to block access from US restricted countries.
Okay. That might be an issue.
So if you please send me the email so I can contact with the IT team.
I'll go ahead and put their information in the chat box in about 2 minutes. Give me just 1 second.
I'm just looking at the VPN.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think that she'll have to go through IT because it's an international and there is a block that she's actually got to talk to IT. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the contact information, Parian, and then you can contact them, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Azim. I'm finishing up my undergrad in biochemistry at Cal State Fullerton, and I'll be coming to Merced for the QSV program. I kind of want to know, now that I accepted the admissions offer, and then I accepted the summer bridge program offer, but that says that you have to enroll in fall classes. So I was wondering how to go about enrolling in fall classes.
I believe we have orientation soon, no? That will help you with this, right, Jess? Am I wrong? Oh, I can't hear you, Jess. Mm-mm. Give her a minute. Oh, here's the email. Did you receive any information regarding registering for classes, Azim?
Not so far that I could see.
Okay. I think you have some time to register for courses. You should be getting guidelines from your grad advisor, the grad chair at least, on what courses to take and what to register for, and also with registering for research courses, so or research units. So I would hold off on waiting for that information. You should be getting that from Fred Wolf probably
Gotcha.
in the next month or so. Yeah, and we do have graduate orientation week. That will be your first week of school here. And that should fall like first or second week of August, which will help you with registering for courses. You'll do TA training, all that good stuff, all that information that you need to get started. Yeah.
And can you hear me, Izzy?
Yeah.
Is there an echo on your end?
A little bit.
A little bit, but it's okay.
Okay, I think I got it now.
There we go. Yes.
So what we did, Martine, maybe if you can find it, we put together a guide for newly admitted students where we kind of go through the steps of what you'll need to do. And there's a video that you can watch that talks about how you can register for classes. So that'll tell you like actually like how to do it. And I think that they open up, Emily, you might know more than me. I think they're going to open up next week, the classes, so you can begin to register. But it's like Emily mentioned, you're going to want to work with your advisor. So depending on the program that you're in, you could also connect with the grad chair. And they can tell you what classes you'll need to register. But it's a little bit different than your undergrad, where even though the summer bridge says you need to be enrolled in 12 units, you don't necessarily have to do them like next week. You have a little bit of time because we know you're going to be in those 12 units in order to be funded and in order to be a full-time graduate student. But definitely get in touch with your program chair.
I don't remember the dates of when fall registration is going to open.
Yeah, I think it might be next week. We can find it on the Office of the Registrar, but
Yeah, fall registration has already opened. And so anybody can register, anybody can register now. And I think that's probably why you got that, also had that information. But as Jessica said, there is, you definitely have some time as a graduate student. Unless that offer letter or that information you got said that there's a certain deadline for you, you still have some time, Azim.
I believe this deadline was April 28th.
Okay, yeah. So registration has already opened up. Take a look. I would say reach out to your faculty advisor. They'll give you what you should be registering for, and then reach out to Emily if you need help actually registering for the classes. Sometimes that also can be a little bit tricky.
Gotcha.
Definitely
Would it be
connect with
possible if you
Fran.
guys could share your contact on the chat?
Yeah. It would be Fred Wolf. Have you had any communication with him at all?
Yeah, I've been in communication with Dr. Wolf.
That would be your person.
Okay.
Yes, that would be your person.
And Azim, can I ask you one more question? This is just for your summer bridge, right?
Yeah.
What you're worried about? Okay. I'm going to talk to Cassie Gunter, who manages that program, and ask her for guidance, because I'm sure if you're having that question, other students are, and maybe we can get her to send out an email just letting you know, do you for sure have to be registered in classes by that date? And we can share details on that process. So I'll connect with her and maybe we can give you some more guidance or more information too. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome, Jess. Thank you for that. And if you can share that with us, that would also be awesome. Marisol, you had a question?
Yeah, it was actually regarding that, but I'd like to introduce myself. Hi, everyone. My name is Marisol Contreras. I am joining the QSB program. So I'm super excited about that. But going on to the Summer Competitive Edge program, I'm working and I'm under contract, so I haven't brought it up to my boss to leave my job early. So I don't know if there's an opportunity to do virtual, if there's anything I can take in virtually. I'd love to do that. I'm first gen. I'd love to have that support and transitioning to a PhD program. Yeah.
I'll go ahead and jump in. Managing the computer and the phone is getting tricky over here. So unfortunately, Marisol, I don't think that we'll be able to do any kind of virtual component to Summer Bridge. It is designed to have you physically be on campus, taking classes, engaging in, I know that the programs are supposed to also give you opportunities to start working on research or at least experiencing the lab. So it's very much an in-person being with that cohort, even doing things like lunches and social things is part of the programming too. But again, I'll ask Cassie, and I don't want to be the final word, but I don't think, especially at this stage of the game, that there's any kind of virtual component that'll be worked in. But I'll mention it to Cassie. Okay.
We do know that they are also providing a stipend to you as a grad student joining that Summer Bridge program. I think it's about $5,000 if I'm not wrong, but you do get a stipend for joining that program over the summer. So if you wanted to take advantage of it, you have that as well.
Yeah, for me, it's actually my company because it's a contract. Anyways, if I leave within the 2 years, I have to give back a certain amount of money. So it's in the clause.
Yeah.
It's because I had like move-in support. So yeah, I can't even afford to leave my contract. That's why I'm asking.
That contract end?
End of August. So I'm saving my time, my vacation days to then go to graduate school. Yeah, I know it's kind of technical, but I'm making it work and I can make it happen. Yeah.
Good. Awesome.
Hi, I'm Teddy. I'm in the physics PhD program. I had a question about, partially, I guess, Summer Bridge program, but more about just like the financial aid, in matter of like, how's it distributed? I know that the value I originally got when I was offered has changed due to the strike. I was wondering, will we be getting a more updated financial aid offer letter? And when is the Summer Bridge and how those dispersed, I guess? I know it depends on TA-ship and research-ship, but more so in general, only because of the summer program, I do need to find an apartment out there so I can do the bridge program, but they need proof of like income and stuff or incoming income. So those would be helpful in kind of getting an apartment out there, I guess.
I can take it. So for the Summer Bridge, I'm not sure how they're offering that pay for you. I think your best bet would be reaching out to grad funding to get those documentations in terms of like income related, like those W-2 statements, etc. But everything should be in your UC Path portal, which you will have access to once you become a student employee with us on campus. But for TA-ship and GSRs, you get paid monthly, I believe. Yes, you get paid monthly, and that would be through our payroll system, and all of that access would be through your UC Path portal. But you won't get that just yet. We are still working on fall funding, summer funding. So, but that's just for TA and GSRs that I handle. If you're getting paid through Summer Bridge, I believe your best bet will be reaching out to grad funding. But I do know that they should be paying you like at the start of June, I believe. And I don't know exactly the amount. That is something that they are still working out. I don't know. I don't have any additional updates. Angie, have you heard anything about how much they'll be receiving? Yeah, we haven't received any guideline on that either.
All of that is still fairly new and it's coming through. As you mentioned, Teddy, the change in the contract has required us to change some of the figures, but you will be getting that information. I think if your question also includes needing verification for looking for an apartment, definitely grant funding or grad funding will be able to give you that documentation that you need. especially because you should be looking for apartments now, right? For June. And so they'll be able to give you some documentation. As far as payout or disbursement of, say, just your monthly, it is monthly, and there are disbursement dates on our websites that you can go to. We'll include that, but it is monthly and it's at the beginning of every month. So typically the last day of the month or the first day of that next month is you typically get paid. Those offer letters will be coming out shortly. As Emily mentioned, we are working on summer funding, but also fall. And fall is just a little bit different, and that it takes a little bit more work to determine what courses you're going to be TAing for. Once your faculty advisor decide what courses you're going to TA, and if that's part of your contract, then we have to go on the back end and actually send you an offer letter and do all that good stuff. So it takes a little bit more time. We're actually in the process of doing that work now. But if it's for looking for an apartment, reach out to grad funding and ask for that documentation. I hope that answers your question.
No, that's perfect. Thank you again so much.
Marisol.
Question. So now that we're able to enter in the courses, do they usually get filled or not really? It's open for all the QSB. I'm QSB, so will they ever get full? Do I need to scramble? That's kind of my question.
No, it's grad programs are definitely different than undergrad. Like your space would be available to you. If, say for instance, it looks like it's filled, that may just be because they closed the course or whatnot, but you will have an opportunity to take that class. Like you will have a roadmap of what courses you need to take as a first year, as a second year, etc. So you don't need to be stressing about what course you need to take. Yeah, those are all upper division classes. Undergrads don't get access to that.
Right, and even more so, they're graduate level classes.
Yeah,
And so
they're graduate level.
There is restrictions on there that you must be registered or you must be admitted and have that designation as a grad student. And so the courses that you register for, nobody can touch them. So unless you've got permission in terms of how you are designated in the system. So you'll be okay.
And then Erin, I know you had a question about Summer Bridge. Are you a part of Summer Bridge this summer, or were you just coming for graduate school in fall? Because if you're a part of Summer Bridge, yes, you would have to be on campus. If you're not, you don't have to, just disregard the Summer Bridge information, and you can come to Merced once school starts in August. Oh, then disregard it. Yeah.
Any other questions? Oh, look, Cassie has joined, or Cassie will join. So hopefully she'll be able to answer some of the questions that have come through.
Cassie, thanks for joining.
Hey, Cassie. Thanks for
Happy
hopping on. So we've had a couple questions about Summer Bridge, and I'm going to try to remember them all. But mostly they're from some of our students here who are planning on or hoping to attend Summer Bridge. And so the first question was about registering for classes. So Azim was saying that how do they need to be registered for 12 units in order to participate in Summer Bridge? And what is the date that they need to be registered for those units by?
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm excited that you're asking questions about our upcoming Summer Bridge program. Yes, you do need to be registered in at least 12 units for the fall 2023 semester in order to receive your funding. The program will begin on June 26th. Our goal is to fund you at least 2 weeks in advance. So let me check the calendar really quick. I would say you need to be registered in at least 12 units no later than June 12th in order to receive your funding in that first batch. And that the goal of funding you early is to ensure that we provide you some funding up front for your moving expenses.
Thanks, Cassie. And
Sure.
that kind of, I think, ties into another question that we had about funding, how that works, when it's dispersed, and when students can expect to kind of receive that stipend. And also, if you know the stipend amount, could you confirm it for everyone?
Let me, I'm sorry, you guys, I'm just jumping on. Let me double check something really quick. I don't want to give you the wrong amount. But while I'm looking for that information, as I mentioned, our goal is to fund you upfront for at least half of the amount, so that we can help with your any expenses to move to campus or the area early. I apologize. Let me look in this folder.
I'm gonna hop off. I have another meeting to attend to, but congratulations, everybody. I'm excited to meet you all in the fall. Bye.
I apologize for my lack of preparedness. 1 second. Here we go. So as stated in the invitation, as a Summer Bridge participant, you will receive $5,000 for Summer Bridge.
Thank you, Cassie. And no worries on apologizing. We sneak attacked you, so don't worry about it. And so I know we had another question. Are there any virtual components to Summer Bridge, or are students expected to be on campus to participate in the program?
That has been the #1 question I've been receiving about Summer Bridge. Summer Bridge will be held in person beginning June 26th through August 4th. I believe that's the Friday. And then we will have a symposium the next week on Monday and Tuesday, August 7th and 8th. Participants of Summer Bridge are expected to participate for the duration of the program in person and on campus. You can expect, right now we've decided to expand the program to all domestic PhD students whose graduate groups elected to participate. So we are in the process of expanding the program significantly this year, which is why I don't have a schedule to provide at this time. We're currently working on it and we'll have it to you as soon as possible. Right now, you can expect to be on campus at least 3 to 4 days a week from about 9 to 2 p.m. Wednesdays for sure, that is the graduate division day. We'll have professional development and such. As far as the other days of the week, that's dependent on your program. But again, I would expect to be on campus 3 to 4 days a week from about 9 to 2 p.m., give or take.
Thanks, Cassie. And then Erin mentioned that this is the first time they've heard about Summer Bridge, and Francisco asked about is Summer Bridge for international students. So maybe can you tell everyone how participants are invited to participate in the program and how that all works within the programs?
Sure. Unfortunately, at this time, we are not able to extend offers for Summer Bridge to our international students. And that is simply because our Summer Bridge students are not enrolled as students, which affects the ability to apply for a visa and provide dates and such, because the visa application requires you to be a student. So unfortunately, for those international students, it is only offered to our domestic students or students who are currently in the US whose visa status allows for them to be funded by UC Merced ahead of the fall semester and be here. That's the reason for that, as much as we would love to offer it to everyone. As far as those who have received an invitation to Summer Bridge, not all of our graduate groups are participating. Currently, we have 10 of our 18 groups who have elected to participate. And that is simply because with this expansion, graduate division cannot host programming and events for everyone that comes. So we are heavily relying on the groups and faculty to help provide more support for Summer Bridge, more programming, and more specialized training, so which is great for you all. Summer Bridge is a program that is giving you a head start, not only in the training specific to your graduate group, and research, but also giving you a head start to get to know some of your fellow incoming PhD students. It's really been a fantastic program when it comes to building cohorts early on. It's great for us as staff members because we see you all connect during the summer, and we watch Summer Bridge students come to all of our other sessions and events together because they really do develop strong bonds ahead of their graduate career at UC Merced.
Great, Marisol, you want to ask your question?
No, I'll wait. Actually, my question was about orientation. So I really enjoy the speaking to people instead of emailing, because it's hard to get in contact with people, waiting and keeping track of who I'm speaking to about everything. I don't know. Is there going to be another event to go over coursework, like overview, how to choose a coursework, or is it just like a one-on-one emailing to your chair advisor? Like, is there another session for QSB that I can look forward to doing? I would appreciate knowing.
That's really going to be up to Dr. Wolf and the program. I would say if you need to talk to him, like on Zoom at least, you could probably ask him for a meeting or ask your advisor for a meeting to hop on a Zoom chat. If you're local, I'm sure they have office hours. You probably pop in during office hours as well. If you felt like you needed one-on-one in-person guidance. As far as a session for all QSB students, like I said, I don't know. I can't imagine that there will be, only because every student is so individualized. So trying to do one general session for each of you sometimes backfires, right? Because how can we really modify that session to suit your needs? So if that's what you need, Marisol, I would say reach out, ask for those things, and just try to get on their calendars, and just know Angie might be able to tell me if there's like midterms right now, or just like be aware of like the cyclical time of the academic year as well. Like once finals start going, they're gonna have less time, but once May passes, there might be more time to have those kinds of meetings too. So hope that answers your question.
Yeah, Jess, thank you for that. And Marisol, I can totally understand just the anxiety of wanting to know exactly what the process is, how to register. And unlike undergraduate programs where there is an orientation and someone sits with you and walks you through your courses, as Jess mentioned, it is a little bit different in graduate studies in that everybody's unique in terms of what their program is and what has been agreed upon. But I will forward it on, this request to Dr. Wolf. We don't currently in the School of Natural Sciences have specific orientation dates where students register. But if that's something that others are also requesting, I don't see that being an issue with having a conversation and seeing if we can create something similar to this where it's just focused on registering. Maybe through Zoom, I can do a presentation, Emily can do a presentation. Parjan, no, you do not need to register for classes right now. There'll be more information. I'm sorry, I was reading the chat. More information to come. But if you are asking if the school will have something specific for registration, we currently don't because of the reasons Jessica just mentioned. However, we can create some type of Zoom meeting where we all get together and just cover the general information on how to register, but we won't during that session be able to actually tell you exactly what you should be doing, since that's part of the conversation you have with your faculty advisor.
Now I'm going to chime in with one more thing and tell you all that what my department, the graduate division, does is actually starting like in mid-June, we do host weekly webinars on different topics related to you getting on campus. So like 1 week we might cover your insurance, 1 week we might do another funding one. We'll do your payroll, so how to fill out your payroll forms and all that stuff. So just know that you are going to be supported throughout the summer. There's going to be and we might do some with like graduate students too. But if you need that program support, like Angie mentioned, don't be shy about reaching out. That's kind of the difference too of grad school and undergrad, right? You're kind of now on your own and kind of experiencing school a little bit differently. But at least our department, we're here to help with the general things and just connecting with people. And then I think somebody asked about housing, so I can jump in, and then maybe Cassie, if you have other things to add too. So for the way the housing works is most of our graduate students actually just do off-campus housing. They end up renting rooms with other graduate students in houses or renting through apartment complexes. I think from what I've heard, I think most apartment complexes might not sign a contract until about maybe 2 months out. You might be able to secure something earlier than that, but that's probably the earliest that they'll do. And what we do is we'll send you links. And I think, Martine, you could drop the website again. In our admitted student guide, we already have the links to property management companies within Merced, the off-campus housing page, the on-campus housing page. So you can start looking if you just want to get a range of what things might cost. Good resources are, if you are open to just renting a room and living with other graduate students, is talking to the people in your groups, asking your grad chair, your advisor to connect you with the folks in their lab. And typically what will happen is in May, once people graduate and they move out, that's when rooms open up in houses. So you can probably start looking from that point on. And then as far as on-campus housing goes, we have very limited units. And those are priority is given to international students, since those students typically might have a harder time looking for apartments or having things like a social security number or credit established to rent here in the States. So hope that answers your question. Let me know if there's something else you want to know, Erin. And then I think we're getting, that's the last of the questions. Marisol, you want to go ahead and ask your question?
All right, for confirmation to know, like for an updated stipend, whatnot, is that with grad funding? Grad funding at ucmerced.edu. That's the email. Okay, right. Thank you.
It's also in the chat, Marisol, if you want to just make sure you got the correct email. It's right there in the chat. Martin has put it in the chat for you guys. Just scroll up from the chat.
Great. So I think that we have most of our questions answered. Erin, can I find housing virtually sometime in May or June? I'm sure you could start looking. I'm not sure, like virtually, I don't work in housing and we don't really work with property management companies, but it never hurts to like reach out and just get conversations started. So yeah, I think you could definitely start looking, and it just depends on when they'll sign your contract.
And definitely don't wait till May or June. Just from experience of working with students, both undergraduate and graduate level, you do not want to wait till May or June to start looking. I would highly recommend that you start looking now. As Jess said, there isn't any, at least for us and for graduate division, we don't specifically provide resources, but we do have housing on campus that will provide you with apartments around Merced that are available or rent out to students. So I think someone also put into the chat housing's contact information. But that's who you'd want to reach out to. I think the best thing you can do now is start looking for housing and your opportunities there, because typically students start putting in the releases, or they don't sign the releases. Many of the students that are currently attending will end their releases, say June 1st. And so it's around early May that they start signing off on new leases, these new apartment places. So you want to do that now and get in as soon as you can. Also, something that works for our undergraduate students that may work for you as graduate students is looking on Facebook, Facebook groups that talk about living in Merced. I think there's also the opportunities through Instagram, looking through housing. Students typically communicate through those types of social areas, so that I would say start looking now. Don't wait until mid-May or June. You'll probably have less likelihood of getting a good spot.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of what Angie's saying, absolutely start looking as soon as possible. Get on those wait lists if you're looking for apartment complexes. Through the housing, there is a consultant for off-campus housing that is been really beneficial to our graduate students, because you can tell them, this is my budget. I have pets. I don't have pets. This is how many people I need housing for, because some of our graduate students do have families and such. So that's a really great resource as far as off-campus housing. If you go to housing.ucmerced.edu and click on off-campus housing, there's also some listings of units and such. Facebook Classifieds is a really great resource. It's not endorsed by UC Merced, but it is a resource that a lot of our students use.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. So start looking. Okay, well, I think that we are at the end of all our questions. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you to Angie for, being able to help host this session. And especially thank you to Cassie for jumping on literally last minute. So we appreciate your time, Cassie. And thank you, everyone. You know our emails if you have questions, and then we'll start hosting more sessions in June. So we'll look forward to connecting with you then. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
Thanks for putting it together. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.